Welcome back to episode 3 of Rolling With It Radio with your girl Hunter Beauty. Today we are going to talk about exes and toxic relationships. I know everybody has some crazy ex stories. I went on my social media and asked all the Rolling With It family to send me some crazy ex stories so I could read it on here anonymously, of course, because we don't want to have y'all getting in no shenanigans, because we trying to be shenanigan free, so we not gonna say no names, no real names. We're gonna keep this all anonymous so everybody can just enjoy the stories in peace, right? Okay, so Case of the Ex is gonna be the name of this. So I'm gonna start this off with a crazy ex story of mine's. And it's crazy that I'm doing this today because I had some crazy ex stuff happen today, but we'll get to that on another note. Okay, so let's just start off one of my crazy ex stories. So basically, when I was a teenager, I was messing with this guy. We're gonna call him Mr. Wonderful. This guy, and he definitely was older than me. He definitely was grown while I was a teenager. Not too grown, but grown enough that he wasn't supposed to be fucking with me. But he was. So, Mr. Wonderful was a drug dealer. And Mr. Wonderful decided to get locked up one day. And my stupid self, being a young, dumb teen, decided that when he got locked up, not only was I accepting his jail calls and being on that note, which that was the first and the last time that I ever was on something like that. But yeah, he would call me from jail, and I remember, I think I had to been like 17 or 18 or something. I remember like shopping for my prom dress, and this guy he just keep blowing my phone up, and he would keep calling back and back and back because I wasn't picking up, because I'm trying to do things on the outside and I'm wondering, like, how do you get these many phone calls? I thought that the phone calls were limited in jail, but this dude would call me back to back to back. So long story short, I decided to go visit him in jail, which was absolutely bananas, because anybody that knows me knows I have a lot of brothers. None of them have been to jail. They don't do the jail shit, and they probably would have wring my neck or twist my head off like a soda bottle top, like my father would say, if they would have known this. So when they listen to this, y'all don't kill me. But I was young and I was dumb, and I learned stuff from it. But yeah, I decided to go take my little grown ass to Rikers Island to go visit Mr. Wonderful, who is now locked up. So anybody that been to Rikers Island knows that when you go to visit somebody, I don't know if it's like this in every jail, but when you go to visit somebody in Rikers Island, it's like you're a prisoner. Like, they search you to the T. They make things hard for you. It's like, it's not a good experience. So, and then mind you, it's so far out where it was at, and me traveling from Harlem is like, so it took me hours to get there. To visit Mr. Wonderful, for Mr. Wonderful to tell me that, oh, guys go to jail and they start loving you and all that. Oh, he loved me so much, and if I love him, then I need to do him a favor. So I'm thinking, like, okay, me naive. Okay, we love each other. What can I do? Not knowing there's about to be some absolutely crazy shit. So Mr. Wonderful decides to say, I need you to basically smuggle something there for him. First, he tried to get me to smuggle some weed. And when he said it, my eyes got so big. Mind you, I'm 17 years old. I don't know about smuggling things into nowhere or none of that. But I'm just like so surprised that he would ask me to do something. I wasn't well versed in the whole smuggling way of life. So I'm like, well, how am I supposed to do that? And he told me how I was supposed to do it, insert it inside myself. And I was like, whoa, wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, no, no. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So then Mr. Wonderful decided to say, well, if you can't do the weed, then just do the tobacco. Because tobacco is, quote unquote, in his eyes, less. Like, it's not as big of a deal as weed would be if I was to have gotten caught. Which was absolute bullshit, because contraband is contraband and they treat it all as the same thing. If you got a damn nail file and it's pointy, they treat that with the same as they would a knife. So he basically was trying to bullshit me and trying to have me do some shit. So the whole time I'm just wondering, like, with the way he was telling me to supposedly do this deed, I'm thinking, like, how, even if I was able to do it, how am I supposed to be able to do it, then incognito, get it and give it to you all without being seen? So I was just like, I was so taken aback that it was just like, I just started feeling weird. And then the whole scene just got awkward. The rest of the visit was awkward as hell. You know, he's telling me everything is going to be all right and all boom, boom, chat, all this BS. By that time, my mind was already swirling, wondering, like, why would this guy ask me to do this? So after the visit was over, I'd left. And my whole travel home, because it's a whole commute, a whole damn mission to get home from Rikers Island. The whole way home, I'm just sitting there thinking, like, well, if this guy says he loves me, then why would he potentially put me in a predicament that would have us both jammed up, both fucked up? Like, if you love me and you on the inside, wouldn't you want me to stay on the outside? Like, what good am I to do to you if I'm locked up too? Like, and it's like, I just started thinking, like, I had an epiphany, like, what kind of person, you know what I mean? Like, what, it didn't even make no sense. That went to show you how selfish this dude was, because it was just the benefit of him. At the end of the day, if he would have gotten, if I was to have done it, and he would have gotten the product or whatever, went about his business, but on my way out, they snatched me up for something or something, it wouldn't have affected him, because he already got his stuff to sell, to do whatever. Like, as long as he was able to get what he wanted, it didn't really matter the vessel that it came in or who brought it. So that really opened my eyes to the games that people can play, and how people, when you're in a quote-unquote relationship, because we wasn't really in a relationship, because we shouldn't even have been messing around with each other or dating or doing any of that. But it goes to show you that people will do stuff selfishly as long as it benefits them. So he was willing to put me in a predicament where I would have been fucked up, had some shit. And that's a felony. I would have had some shit on my record for trying to smuggle something in. And it wouldn't have mattered none to him, because he was already a street nigga. He was already a nigga that probably had felonies. Going to jail wasn't new to him. So it didn't really matter to him. But that really opened my eyes to thinking about something before just doing it. And not letting a guy tell you that he loves you make you make stupid decisions. Because, to be honest, when I was there just to keep peace, you know, my face said, oh, hell no. But to try to keep everything, you know, calm, cool, and collective during the visit, I, you know, made it seem as if maybe I would think about it. But I knew that I was not fucking doing that. First of all, the whole time I'm just thinking, like, let the police call my brothers and tell them, we have your sister because she did this. I just started getting nervous, shaking in my boots, having sweats. I was just like, oh, hell no. Like, oh, no. No, I would rather stay in jail. No, I didn't want no parts of that. So I was just really, like, scared. I was scared of, first of all, I started thinking about, what if my brothers even find out that I even came? Because if they would have even known that I came to visit a guy in jail, they would have knocked my head off. But let alone even thinking about trying to smuggle contraband in. Man, listen. I got up out of there so fast. I left up out of there. That was the last time I seen Rikers Island. I was not going back. That was the last phone call that I received. And trust and believe, he was blowing on my blowing on my phone. So much so that I had to eventually get my number changed because he just wouldn't give up. And, you know, at first, my tactic was, oh, just ignore him. But that did not work well. Because ignore him, literally, he would call my phone until it died. And this is back in the day when phones wasn't as good, as updated and all that. You can't be doing a bunch of things at one time. And he would just blow my phone up, leave voicemails, just all kind of stuff. What's going on? So eventually, I decided to pick up and to be honest with him. And I was just like, you know, exactly how I was feeling. Like, listen, I feel like, do you really love me? Because why would you try to put me in this predicament that I could potentially get locked up? And then we both be locked up. Then we both not free. Then what good are we to each other? Do you know this motherfucker told me, oh no, that wasn't going to happen. You wouldn't have gotten caught. I would have coached you through it so well that you would have been so, like, really? So all the while, like, that's what I mean. Like, he couldn't even, his selfishness didn't even allow him to see that what I was saying was right. Because all he wanted to hear was, I'm coming and I'm going to do what you say. Absolutely crazy. And like, that situation taught me a lot, made me view guys in different ways, made me, you know, definitely think more with my head and not my heart. And, you know, overall, made better decisions. Like, he was the last jail dude I ever dated or anything like that. I swore off of that. I swore off of drug dealers because I don't got time to be dealing with nobody getting locked up and me having to even have those conversations. So, to be honest, you know, sometimes they say, you know, good things come out of bad things. You know, that situation was definitely eye-opening, and it definitely taught me something, and it definitely, to this day, I've lived by that, and I will die by that. I'm not with none of that. So, that was my first little crazy ex story. But now, boom, we gotta get to some of y'all stories, because I want to hear some of these stories, because some of these stories, trust me, I know, because sometimes I hear some stories of stuff that goes on and I'm like, oh my God, like what? Like, no. That's why I'm happy I'm in a happy relationship, because I can't deal with some of the things. Like I tell my friends all the time, I can't deal with some of the things that goes on in these single streets. They not for me. I'm a little crazy upstairs. My clock don't, you know, it stop at about 7. It don't go all the way around to that 12. You know, I'm trying to get to that 12 eventually, but we still not there yet. So I don't have time for crazy people outside. So we just gonna talk about some other crazy people stories, because Tia try to keep as much crazy away as I can. Okay, so here's one of the stories. My ex was so dumb that one time he got pissy drunk and his little side bitch called his phone. Her and I had a great heart-to-heart. Then old girl's man called looking for her. But he tried to bag me in the process. Whoa. That's definitely a crazy story, because, you know, I'm always with the truthful thing. I feel like if you're truthful and you're honest, you don't got to worry about hiding stuff and doing all that kind of stuff. But obviously, this ex that this girl is talking about, he didn't believe in that. So he probably was just being sneaky. And, you know, still hitting up bitches, still chilling with them and all of that. And that's whack. Because it's like, you know, sometimes I have this conversation all the time. It's like sometimes guys be wondering like, oh, why do girls go so crazy and stuff like that? Like, now, I understand that sometimes in relationships, you know, when it's not clear or not put on a table that y'all are exclusive or something like that, and people can just be moving like y'all exclusive, like y'all doing everything without a title. And I feel like that's divisive sometimes for men and for women, because you feel like if you don't say nothing is official, then if something happened, you can't really be held accountable because y'all ain't say y'all was boyfriend and girlfriend. That's why I did, from when I was younger, my thing was, which used to freak a lot of guys out, I would just be straight up from the table like, hey, what you trying to do? What kind of situation you trying to have? Like, you trying to have, like, you trying to play, you trying to have a whole girlfriend, you trying to have something in the middle. Just let me know right now, and then we can see how we gonna work this out. Because you know what I mean? You never know. If you be honest with somebody, then you leave it open for them to make a right choice, a honest choice, a respectable choice. Like, when I used to put that on the table for guys, it ran a lot of guys away. Because first of all, they was just like, whoa, it blew their mind. Like, what girl asked this? Like, and then other guys, it would just be like, a lot of times it would be like, you know what, I can't even fuck with you like that because I respect you too much for even saying something like that. You know, because trying to be honest from the beginning. And then it was some guys who we just made a decision on how that's how it was gonna be. You know what I mean? If it's gonna be A, it's gonna be B, it's gonna be C. But we made a concise decision on all three of them on what they was gonna be. So, you know, clearly this person that sent in that story, unfortunately, your ex, he was dumb and sloppy because he got sloppy drunk and, yeah, calling girlfriends. Okay, another person says, my ex was so ridiculous. He tried to convince me to marry him and get a big enough house to move in his other baby mom, who, by the way, is confined to a wheelchair. Let him humor her by being her boyfriend. I should take care of her and their daughter together, and we will be one big happy family. What? First of all, that bothers me on so many levels, because it's like, first and foremost, it's like, why would this guy even think that it is even comfortable to say something like that? Like, that level of comfortability either have to come from somebody that's super brave and stupid, or somebody that you allowed to think that it was okay in some way, shape, or form. Like, you may not even, you know what I mean? You may not even, not that you would like openly allow your partner to cheat or anything like that, but even certain allowances that you do, like, if you find a number in the phone or you find some suspicious activity and you don't nip it in the bud, and it's not a thing where it's an understanding that, hey, I don't like that, I don't want this is not what I want in a relationship, and you just brush it off, then the person is probably gonna see, that's that saying, you give somebody an inch, they take a mile. Okay, you may have allowed that because you may feel like, oh, it may have not gone past text messaging or whatever, which you don't know. But now that they see that you didn't make a hoopla about that, now the next thing, okay, they're going to go a little bit farther. You let them go one block, let's try two. So now they're going to see, and it depends on how many allowances you allow to see how people really going to move. If you nip things in the bud, and this is with like sexual relationships or just any relationship, like how I move, I feel like what's best is just nip things in the bud. If you meet stranger A, and stranger A does something day one that you don't like, that you feel like is against it, that disrespected you or made you feel a kind of way, I feel like you can on day one tell stranger A, hey, I don't like that. I don't like to be treated like that. I don't like to be talked to like that. I don't like that thing done to me. Whatever it was. And stranger A could either respect it or neglect it. But you said what you said, and you let it be known that you're not feeling it. So now if we come on day two and stranger A decides to do the same thing, if you don't react so nicely this time, stranger A can't be upset because you've already explain to them that you don't like this kind of stuff. And that's how I move. I move where I let people, I inform people basically how to treat me. Like, you know, when I don't like something, I'll let you know, and then we'll go on from there. And then that's how we move. Because I go and I start everybody off at 100. It's the things that you do that will negate from that 100, have me looking at you a little sideways. Once you get about under 60 and under, you might have to get pushed off to the side, because I can't, you know, I can't deal with that kind of stuff. Like, I'm not, like I told you on my clock, don't go all the way around, and I don't have time. So you have to teach people how to treat you. I feel like in that situation where homeboy thought that to buy a house and move baby mother in and do all this shenanigans, when he thought that was a good idea, he probably was, he somewhere in there, he thought that somewhere you would say yes, that there was an inkling that you would say yes. And that means that you are doing something wrong. You got to make sure that nobody could never think that they could move in an ex-baby mother on you and you're not okay with it. Because listen, whatever float people boat. People into whatever they into. And I ain't gonna judge people's relationships. You can do whatever you want to in your relationship. I do what I want to in my relationship. So if she was comfortable with that, that's one thing. But clearly you wasn't comfortable with that. But hopefully in your next relationship, you know, it's not, you don't make those same allowances, because it may not come in the same form, but the same things can kind of happen. Like, okay, the next person may not ask, can they baby mother move in, but it may be something else that may be against your relationship that they may think is okay because you allowed this, that, and the third. I don't allow nothing I don't like. I see something I don't like, I speak on it. Especially in like monogamous relationships and things like that. No, because it's not like, you know, with such things as like family and different stuff like that, like certain things you can't necessarily break away from to a certain extent. But a relationship, a sexual relationship, a monogamous relationship, if you don't like what's going on in there, boom, deuces, see you later, bye, I'm up out of here, see you later, I'm out, I'm going. No, that's how it's supposed to be, because it's a billion people in the world. And you can find somebody that don't make you feel bad, or don't do the things to you, or won't try to cross boundaries, or try to take inches and inches and inches and see how far that they can go to disrespect you. You have to be concrete. You got to stand firm on some things. And, you know, the thing about standing firm on things sometimes is everybody's not going to agree with it. And to the people who don't agree, it may turn into, you know, some kind of situation, because they're going to stand on how they don't agree with it, and you're going to stand on how you feel about it. But, you know, you can determine how the whole situation goes about, because if it becomes a thing where it's just the point can constantly not get through, then maybe that's a person that you may have to separate yourself to a certain extent. That's with relationships, family, anybody. But yeah, that's the only 2 stories that I'm going to read today about crazy ex stories. That was absolutely crazy. The one that I said was crazy, but it was also my personal story that I said. It was crazy, but it was also something that taught me something in life and made it so that, you know, later on down the road, I had already experienced this, so I was already so equipped that I just boop, boop, boop. I was just dodging everything. Like, nah, I'm good. Hides me these hoes. Nope, I'm good. See you later. If you even in that realm, nope, I'm good. Can't do it. Can't deal with it. Because if you alleviate certain things, then you alleviate headaches. So the next topic that I want to talk about is toxic relationships. And a lot of ex-relationships, unfortunately, a lot of people have bad ex stories and bad exes and things like that, because a lot of people get into relationships, first of all, both being toxic entities themselves, and then making one big toxic conglomerate, and then wondering why it didn't work out. Toxic relationships are sad. They can be detrimental to your own personal health. They can be detrimental to your relationships with other people. It's just like, it's really sad. And I see a lot of toxic relationships out here, and it's really like, it's like, it's sad that people don't even see sometimes the toxicness that they have within them. Like, you know, like my last relationship, like, was definitely toxic for me. It was like, you know, I spent years, there was very little happy times and lots more times where there was a lot of mental and verbal abuse and just toxicity, like just toxicness. And I just remember just like losing myself in the relationship because, you know, I spent, at the beginning, I was like, oh, happy-go-lucky. And then it was just like crazy events that happened that just made it so that literally 80 to 90% of the relationship, I literally was in it because I was literally scared that he may hurt himself if I left. So I spent years in an unhappy relationship, getting verbally abused, mentally abused, losing myself, not happy, you know, not doing the things I love, you know, trying to, you know, just push through with a person that just was lost and was toxic to me. And I saw it, but I was so scared of that outcome of him hurting himself, doing something to himself because I left or something like that, that it literally had me frozen in place, that I didn't want to make a move. But, you know, sometimes you go through certain situations and it shows you stuff. Like, I spent years, like I told y'all, like I literally started losing myself. Like, I wasn't happy with myself. I wasn't happy with how life was going on. I had gotten accustomed to the shenanigans and the everyday being called out my name every day. Just basically all the things that my father and my mother and my family, my brothers and all that basically taught me not to allow. I literally every day was walking on eggshells, every day waking up just knowing that it was going to be a certain level of dysfunction and shenanigans going on, or disrespect, just constant disrespect. Like, so I just had to get to a point like where I just was over it, and I was just like, you can't keep putting this person's happiness or well-being before yours, because it does no good. Like, it does no good. I wasted years of my life. I wasted time where I could have been utilizing it to do, you know, to make my dreams come true, or you know, using it, just putting all that love and stuff that I had into something bigger and better. And, you know, even though that relationship was toxic, this is what I'm saying. You also have to self-reflect. And you have to realize, I have to realize that, you know, I added some toxicity to the situation as well. Nowhere near as much as he did, but I definitely did, because, you know, I fed into a lot of stuff, a lot of time on a consistent basis, whereas I should have known after a while, like after it became a routine of acting out, of him doing this, I should have been able to build up a wall and say, you know what, he's down that road again. So let me not chase him down the road. Let me not go down the road with him. Let me just stop and get off the bus right here. You know, but a lot of times I fed into it, which made things worse, which didn't help. And, you know, you learn the hard way. But there was also a lot of times where I didn't feed into it, and I did separate myself, and I did get off the crazy bus and get off at that stop and try to let the road go back. But it's like the crazy bus. It's like the more you try not to engage, the more that person wants to engage you in a negative way. And that right there, I can say I kind of carried that on to my next relationship, because when there would be arguments, when my man now, when I would argue, when we would have disagreements or arguments or anything at the beginning, he's like, I'm like a crazy, and he's like a calm. He's like the calm to my storm. I would be squawking my damn head off, talking, disagreeing, feeling ways, doing whatever. And he wouldn't even like engage. He would be like, you done? Like, and that shit used to piss me off so much, because I just felt slighted. I felt like, how dare you not argue back with me? Who do you think you are? Not arguing back with me. Like, not even thinking about, like, that's good that he's not arguing back with you. He's letting you, he sees that you're in a space and you need to just get, so when you're done, we can talk like adults. But that wasn't enough for me. Like, I wanted him to argue back, because that's what I was used to. I was used to somebody arguing with me, or me arguing with somebody, and then going back and it being at the same level, and it's just it's just fire breathing dragons all over the place. And that's toxic. That's unhealthy. Somebody has to, if somebody doesn't say stop, then where's it gonna stop? It's just gonna go on forever. And that's how it's gonna go every single time. So I had to learn, I had to wash that off from my toxic relationship that I was in before, so that it didn't affect my relationship currently, because it wasn't fair. He didn't do it to me. He wasn't the person that did it to me. So why should I bring that baggage? I had to leave that baggage where it was at, because it would have been detrimental to my relationship. You have to realize, like, when you get into a new relationship after being in a toxic relationship, and most times you need to definitely, you need to take time for yourself. Get to know yourself again before you jump into another relationship. Most people, it doesn't usually end up well when you don't take time for yourself. Especially if you're a kind of person that thinks that you need to be in a relationship. Like, you need to take time to yourself before you get into another relationship, because, you can bring toxic things into an untoxic space and start dirtying up the space. You don't want to drag no dirty shoes into a freshly mopped floor. Like, why? Take them shoes off, wipe them at the door, leave them at the door. Come in clean-footed. Like, if anybody will take anything from this episode, like, practice, like I said last thing, practice self-care. Don't drag the characteristics and the flaws and the baggage from a toxic relationship into a new relationship, and try to reflect and see what was toxic about the relationship that you were in, and what you can do differently, and how, and in your part in the toxicity. Because that's a lot of stuff. People point fingers. You did this to me. You did this to me. You. Point fingers, blame everybody else. But they never look in the mirror and see how they, contributed to it. Because your contribution to the toxic relationship means something as well. Because that means that now you need to work on this, like I said, so that you won't bring this into the next relationship and then unfairly put that onto somebody else who wasn't the person that did it to you. So I'm just hoping that anybody, if you're in a toxic relationship right now, I hope and I pray that you realize it, because sometimes people don't realize it. I pray that you realize it, you work on doing something about it, whether it's trying to get it together with the person, or getting it together by yourself, or getting it together with somebody else. But, try to stay out of toxic relationships. And toxic relationships, not just with a significant other. Even toxic relationships with friends, family, associates. They don't mean you no good. and they bringing you harm, and they bringing you stress unnecessary, listen, get them up out of there. Because it's not even worth it. It's just, it's horrible, and it's sad, and it's, you know, it's sad to see some things that go on. It's sad. It makes me sad to think about, you know, what I, you know, ultimately put myself through, because I didn't have to stay in that toxic relationship that I was in with my ex, but I did, you know, and the reason why I did was an unselfish reason, because I was thinking more about, you know, his well-being than mine. But in the long run, it didn't do no good. You know, me being this good Samaritan and thinking that I'm doing this good deed didn't really help me, and unfortunately it don't seem like it helped him either. So it's absolutely sad. But it's another thing, toxic relationships is leading to this. I don't know if y'all heard about it, but there's this trouble. I call it trouble because it's 3 people in a couple situation. Like, it's 3 people in a relationship. Like, and 2 out of those 3 people are twin females. So there's one guy that is dating and impregnated 2 twin sisters. I don't know if y'all seen it, but when I seen it, I thought it was a hoax. I thought it was a joke. And then I said, you know what? In this crazy ass world, do you really not believe that? And then I saw the situation, and I started doing a little bit more insight on it, because, you know, it went around and it went viral, and it was this whole big thing, because the guy who impregnated the twins, he definitely is on some bragging, like, oh, I'm that dude, I'm that nigga, who else you know got twin baby mothers. Like, he's braggadocious with it. Like, he's happy about this shenanigans that's going on. He's happy that these 2 kids are going to be sibling cousins. Like, absolutely bananas. But he is just bragging. So I went and I'm like, okay, because then people started, the story started coming out. I started seeing stories where people were like, oh, well, I feel so bad for the twins because they don't want to be in it, they're being forced into it. And then I start feeling bad, like, you know, even though, unless he got a gun to their head, or really mind fucking them, really, like, I don't know how they could be being forced to be in this situationship. But I looked online and I saw, I did my little investigative work, because I'm good at that. Found the page and I looked on it and all of that, and the story of them basically being, you know, having the twin girls having something bad done to them or something is a lie, because on the page they have videos of them all laid up in the bed. Mind you, it looks like they are living in a hotel. The hotel is filthy. He's in the middle. They laying on his chest underarm thing. They chilling like a villain. It's a baby in the background. Oh yeah, don't forget, not only are the twins both pregnant by the same guy, and they all in one big relationship, but one of them already have a kid. The little girl had to been 1 or 2. She's walking around. Sorry guys. She's walking around the dirty hotel room with only a pamper on and just roaming free. Nobody, they're laid up on the bed, on live, talking shenanigans, not paying attention to her, not being parents, not doing anything. And the baby's just... So now I'm like, well, I don't feel bad. That bad feeling that I had for them was like gone, because it's like, obviously they're okay with it. They're smiling, they're giggling, they're engaging with him and all of that. So I saw that. So then I was like, okay, well, you know, this is just absolutely crazy and absolutely sad. But it also, like, sorry to say, but it looked like the girls were like a little bit, like, they clock didn't go all the way around either. Like, they look like they're easily influenced, which makes you feel a little bit bad, because it's like, dang, you know, somebody that's a little bit slower somebody takes advantage of them, that's bad. But I don't know that for sure. Don't quote me on that. But it was sad. It was really sad. But I don't feel bad, because after I went and did my investigating and saw all of that, I also saw something else where now they about to have like a whole TV show or movie or something like that, where there's like a guy like, come and I know you heard about the guy that impregnated twin sisters. Come on and let's dive in. Like, he's really like broadcasting it, and then he comes and it's a whole thing. They're sitting down and they're just telling the story, and the girl, so what supposedly the story is the guy was dating one of the twin sisters, and then the other twin just wanted to get down, and then she said yes, and then they both end up pregnant at the same time. It's like, oh God, it's like, what is the world coming to? Like, the fact that there were people actually bigging him up, the fact that he is okay with that, the fact that the girls say, they're okay with it, but they're not okay with it, whatever their view is, the fact that this whole situation even exists goes to show you that this world is out of control. Like, people you could do whatever you want to do, whatever floats your boat. But when you do things like this, like, okay, right now, while y'all flourishing or doing whatever y'all doing and going viral and becoming popular and doing all that, yeah, that's cool, but is nobody thinking about the lives of these kids? Like, that how they're going to grow up and how they're going to be viewed and how confusing it is going to be for them to be siblings and cousins at the same time, and the questions that they're going to have and how they're going to be teased, and it's like, and just the mental trauma that they're going to have just knowing that this shit fuck ass situation happened. It's just absolutely crazy. Like, it's so crazy. I don't even, like, I was kind of like lost for words. But, some people don't even view it like that. Some people are just like, what? Like, it's nothing. What? They, it ain't incest, because it ain't two family members doing things with each other. So if it ain't incest, it's all good, I guess. Hell no. Don't agree with that. Hell no. Ain't no way. It's too many people in the world. Why would you, as a twin, this is what I'm saying, why would you, as a sister, I have sisters, I don't want nobody, my sister, even ever breathed about in a way that they like in any way. I have two sisters. I have god sisters, I have stepsisters, I have friends that I call sister. Anybody, first of all, anybody that I don't want nobody that somebody else want, like, especially if you are my friend. Why would I want that? Why would I want to be laid up in the bed with my twin sister, we sharing a man? Is this the only man in the world? Why is there not more of an uproar about this? Why is there not more? Because people like to mind their business and it ain't them, and they ain't. But then they're going to have these kids in this messed up ass situation and obviously instill all the shenanigans that they are clearly about into these kids. And then, boop, release them out into the world like nothing. And then they're going to be our problem. We're going to have to deal with the sibling cousins that these crazy motherfuckers then produced and released onto the world. Because clearly, by the way they was taking care of the other baby, that's just going to be the consensus of the two other kids that's about to come into this life. It's like, man, you just gotta hope for the best. You just gotta hope for the best. I talked to my man about the situation. He was like, the only thing you could, hopefully that their little TV show goes good, because at least now that will hopefully be used, the money from that will be used to take care of the kids. Like, as crazy as it is, hopefully them going viral and having the show will fund these kids, because if not, it's just like, you do anything for clout? Why do people do anything for clout? You did this big hoopla, and then if it don't go nowhere, your kids is just sibling cousins. and traumatized. So, hopefully, I hope people make better decisions than them. That's absolutely crazy. I'm telling you, it just blows my mind. But, these are the kind of toxic, that is definition of a toxic relationship right there. Clearly. Like, obviously, Twin 1 was already in a toxic relationship with dude that he was able to just go skedaddle with Twin 2. And then now they all three together, and it's just super crazy. So I hope people make better decisions in the future. I know, stay far away from me with that kind of stuff. I don't want to have no parts of none of that. I just thought that was absolutely crazy. But I ain't gonna keep y'all. I'm not gonna keep y'all. If y'all like what y'all listening to, tell a friend to tell a friend. Rolling With It Radio is in the building. So I'm gonna get on up out of here. But I hope that these words is coming to you in good health and good spirits. If not, I hope they help you. And I'm going to just leave it off with practice self-care. Again, y'all know that's very important. Stay away from crazy exes. But keep sending me your crazy ex stories, because if we just keep getting them in, then I might just add it in as a segment where we'll just do a crazy ex story every time. And stay out of toxic relationships, because it's for your best mental health. It's for the best of us all. But gonna have some music at the end of the show, so I hope that y'all like the song. It's called Bouta Catcha Come Up by Swag Bandz. Bye. Catch y'all next week. Rolling With It Radio with Hunter Beauty. On out.
Oh man, nigga fucked up. Boy, oh boy. You gotta catch this motherfucker come up, boy. You with the shits, man. You ain't with the shits, nigga. I'm going to go get this shit, man. You already know what it is, nigga. Get swag. I'm about to catch a come up, ooh. Shoot a nigga in the Hummer, ooh. He be gone by the summer, ooh. 100 bands for the come up, let's get it. If his man's tryna run up, ooh. Oh, came when the thunder, ooh. I ain't got no chill, ooh. I got the sauce, no hummus, ooh. Young nigga on the come up, ooh. I'm just tryna catch a come up, ooh. Shorty swag on sauce, ooh. I'm just tryna catch a number. My niggas designers acting to you under. We getting bread by the low, make a wonder. Pull up when the niggas start talking them numbers, ooh. I'm just tryna catch a come up, ooh. J went OT, ooh. Got the Molly off OD. Came back dripping like a nosebleed, ooh. He was trying to catch a come up, ooh. Night down to the sun up, ooh. Let's get it chasing, they running, ooh. Let's night down to the sun up, ooh. Just wait chasing, they running, ooh. I'm just trying to catch a come up. I'm just trying to catch a come up. About to catch a come up. I just wanna catch a come up. I'm just trying to catch a come up. I'm just trying to catch a come up. About to catch a come up. Let's go. I'm about to 100 bands for the come up. 200 bands for the come up. I'm just trying to catch a come up. I'm just trying to catch a come up. 300 bands for the come up. 100 bands for the come up. I just wanna catch a come up. Let's go. I'm about to catch a come up. Ooh. Put a nigga in the lobby. Ooh. Wasn't trying to catch a body. Ooh. But I had to put the gun in my heart. Stone cold like the stunner. Sweet. So you know we had to stun him. Ooh. Or if you try to resist, he'll get one like a hit wonder. Ooh. Niggas sleeping like a slumber. Ooh. Bitches get the cucumber. Let's go. I ain't really trying to wipe the bitch. I'm just trying to catch a come up. Ooh. Wrap it up like a mummy. Ooh. Let's get it, put it in the tummy. Ooh. Get she yell, ooh. Like shorty, young mine. Ooh. You can call me young pop. Ooh. Poppy if you nasty. Ooh. I like my bitch classy. Ooh. Beat it to his black kid. Ooh. Anyhow, I gotta get it. Ooh. Pop a nigga in the Civic. Ooh. I'm just being specific. Ooh. Doing men up Pacific Blue. I'm just trying to catch a come up. I'm just trying to catch a come up. About to catch a come up. I just wanna catch a come up. I'm just trying to catch a come up. I'm just trying to catch a come up. About to catch a come up. Let's go. I'm about to 100 bands for the come up. 200 bands for the come up. I'm just trying to catch a come up. I'm just trying to catch a come up. 300 bands for the come up. 100 bands for the come up. I just wanna catch a come up. Let's go. I'm about to. Alright, let me hear that real quick, bro.